Hello, my pretties. What's up? It's the Lion Queen here. So, welcome to episode 276 of Shadows and Pretties. And today we are going to be reviewing this 1992 science fiction dark horror movie called, The Lawnmower Man. Now, this movie came out in 1992, and this film is adapted from the emerging of a 1975 short story by Stephen King, with the original, entitled as Cyber God, while King's story focuses on the particular character, a trout, animal-like pan worshipper. So, basically this based on this short story, The Lawnmower Man in Stephen King's novel collection called Night Shift. So yeah, I mean, after a lawsuit for whatever reason, Stephen King was uncredited for whatever reason. But that's not the point. I personally really thought it was a really enjoyable story. I mean, it's got pretty interesting actors that I've never heard of before, but it seems like this story is actually a pretty good one. I mean, it's a really well made story. I personally really enjoyed it. So, yeah. With that being said, there is like some sort of a sequel to this, which don't plan to review the sequel now because I've not seen it. And that one is called The Lawnmower Man 2 Beyond the Cyberspace, which was released in 1996. However, there is a video game such as The Lawnmower Man in 1993 that came out, as well as Cyber War in 1994, which I've not played those. So, however, I'm going to go ahead and explain what the plot is for this one, The Lawnmower Man. Um, yeah, I'm going to basically go ahead and explain this for any of you guys who have not seen the movie in a long time, and for those who would want a refresher, etc. So this is about Dr. Lawrence Angelo works for a virtual space industries and runs experiments along with psychoactive drugs and virtual reality to enhance the congestive performance using chimpanzee as test subjects. In an experiment labeled as Project 5, Angelo then been Violence Aims, but VSI funded as the shop. The clandestine group hoping to find a military adaptations for Angelo's research. One of the chimpanzees, Roscoe, gifted with the new intelligence against warfare before training, and increased with aggression, escapes, and after being hunted and is killed by the laboratory security forces, Angelo coincidentally decides to recruit intelligently disabled old gardener named Job Smith as a test subject, telling the man that he'll start become smarter. That's when Angelo designs the intelligence boosting treatments to remove the aggression factors used in chimpanzee experiments. Not only is Joe's intelligence enhanced, but he also develops a psychological kinesis and, telepathy, which he continues training at the lab until an accident forces Angelo to abort this experiment. So the project director, Sebastian Timms, keeps the tabs on for the progression of the experiment and secretly swaps Angelo's new medications with the old Project 5 supply. So when Job invites his new lover, Marine, to the lab to engage in, you kind of understand what that means. Cyber swell time. He accidentally lobotomizes her, and Job continues the treatment on his own and begins killing people who mistreated him in the past, as well as his abusive father of his 10-year-old friend Peter. Angelo eventually learns the drugs have been swapped and confronts Job, who captures him and declares his plan to reach an ultimate stage of evolution, which pretty much is becoming one of the pure energy existing in the VSI computer in our mainframe. Now, connecting all the computer systems in the world, he promised that his birth will be signaled by every telephone on the planet, ringing it simultaneously. So the shop sends a team to capture Job, But with his new abilities, he scatters them all to pieces. So Job uses the lab equipment to enter the VSI-8 mainframe and becomes digital being, abandoning his psychological physical body. That's when Angelo, however, remotely accesses the VSI computer encrypting connections outside of the world. He traps Job in the mainframe, and Job searches for an encrypted network connection. However, Angelo sets bombs to destroy the building, fleeing for the responsible of what happened to Job. So Angelo enters virtual reality in an attempt to reason with them one last time, or dies with them. So Job overpowers Angelo and crucifixes his digital body. That's when Peter runs into him with him one last time, or die with them. But of course, when Peter runs into the building, Job realizes he's in danger from the bombs. Still caring for the boy, he allows Angelo to leave the mainframe and allow him in order to rescue Peter. Job escapes through the maintenance line just right before the building is destroyed. However, Angelo is later at home with Peter and his mother Carla. The telephone rings, and was followed by the sound of a second telephone ringing elsewhere, followed by other telephones ringing around the world. Thus, how the movie ends. Well, that was called The Lawnmower Man by Stephen King. I personally have not watched this movie in a really long time. I think the last time I watched this was like years ago, from when I was like in my teen years. I personally really thought it was a really great movie. I mean, I haven't watched the first one in a while. While it is a good film, I personally like that it's got a bit of science fiction in it, which is pretty interesting. I mean, yes, I have not seen the second movie yet, so I'll have to wait till I get to see the second movie. While this is a pretty interesting film, I personally like the concept of it. I mean, this is a pretty good film, especially for something made in the 90s. I personally still think it's really amazing how Stephen King, you know, adapted this from one of his stories called The Night Shift. So that was quite interesting. So, honestly, I do recommend this movie for any of you guys who are Stephen King fans, such as myself. I highly recommend you guys check this out if you haven't. So, I guess with that being said and that being the case, I personally really enjoy this. So, if you happen to really like this movie, I highly recommend you check this one out if you haven't. So, yeah, I mean, in all due reality, when it comes to a lot of Stephen King films, there's some that I really like, some I don't like, and there's most of them that I really find enjoyable. This one is definitely an enjoyable one to watch, especially if you were born in the 90s, or you probably have heard of this movie from maybe one of your parents' bookshelves that had like VHS tapes. You might have heard this about this movie. But like I said, that's just me. So with that being the case and with that being said, what did you guys personally think of this movie? Let me know what you guys all think in the comments below. Also, I do want to point out that I found this movie to be pretty good, and it still is a good horror movie by Stephen King, based on, well, one of the stories by Night Shift. So, I guess with that being said and that being the case, I'm going to sit here and just say this right now, that this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you happen to disagree with me, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these movies. This is just my own personal thoughts. So, I recommend this movie to anybody who's a Stephen King fan. And if you're a fan of horror, I highly recommend you check this movie out. So, anyways, what did you guys think? Let me know what you think of this movie in the comments below. As always, I'm the Lion Queen. I want to thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're new to my channel, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. As always, links to my DeviantArt page as well as my Twitter account will be in the About page section of my channel, so you guys can go give those accounts a follow if you like. Also, if you're interested in subscribing to my backup channel known as Miss Dark Shigo, link to that will be also in the About page section. So that way you guys will not miss an upload. And pardon me about that. I have a bit of hiccups. So, yeah. Anyways, I guess with that being the case and with that being said, I will be seeing you guys all in the next video. And if I'm missing something that I did not mention in this movie, let me know what it is in the comments below that I missed. So yeah, as always, I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out, everyone, and like always, I'll see you all next time.